What is going on, everybody? It is episode 642 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary, just as the description says today. It is just us today. Phil has to attend to the debates because those are happening tonight.
I think Tim saw your short and then said, Phil, you...
No, yeah, he's being an op right now. Tim is being an op, and he told Phil he cannot...
do the show today.
He can't cross lines here, but no, I don't even think that he will see it. But yeah, that was fun. And someone in the chat mentioned it, saying you should do the same.
Oh, yeah.
Have you thought about it?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell I would talk about. See, the thing is, guys, on this show, like, we try to find a balance of, like, what interests us, but the stuff that interests me doesn't really work in the, like, imagine me trying to talk about, like, the absurdity of box office numbers or budget constraints for film while, like, talking at my phone. Actually, it would only be funny if I did it in public, like in a really, really public place. You, like, make it a street interview. You're like, hey, can I ask you a couple questions? And then you just start ranting at them. What did you think of Godzilla -1? like $10 million budget. Did you know that? They're like, whoa. Yeah.
They're like, damn, that's crazy. No, but you're the one who gave me the idea.
Yeah, so. Well, yeah, for a long time I said I think it would work better if you just recorded the shorts on your phone. And people do seem to take to that a lot. It's more personal when you see it done that way. So
it's personal.
Which is why you did the one that you did today. Guys, Mary's not feeling super well, so if we might get out of here early today. Depends on how the super chats go. I suppose if you want to keep us here, you'd have to super chat more.
Well, we wouldn't have a problem with that.
If we run out of super chats, we may call it. I caught
whatever you had once again. This is a repeating cycle.
Well, it's because we work in the same.
And you're like, oh, it's allergies. It's allergies. And I'm like, oh. I never had allergies before.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
So guys, just a heads up, if you want to keep us here longer, you're gonna have to super chat more, but we will go that way. But we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. So the new Harry Potter television show that's coming out from Max, not HBO.
We're gonna call it HBO Max.
Apparently they're going back to the term HBO Originals.
Can they just stop changing it?
Right? So there's some big news that has come out about the show. So they've got their showrunner and a director for multiple episodes, and they've got good pedigree in Hollywood. But what it does, whenever new news comes out about this show, it reinvigorates all the people that hate J.K. Rowling to get themselves wound up into a big hate boner that they then thrust everywhere and miss.
That's a colorful metaphor.
And then they miss because they're coping, and we're going to get into it because she always stays winning. So we're going to talk about that.
We're swinging it everywhere.
Exactly.
Woke boners, am I right, guys?
See, that will be my short for tomorrow. Let's talk about woke boners and how they're missing. We're also going to get into, there's more Acolyte news. So Leslie Headland, she's like, psych, it's not the gayest Star Wars ever. And I'm not even kidding you. That's basically what the story is.
In a way, yeah.
I just want to know why the interviews tried to sideswipe her to begin with and make it about this. But we're going to talk about that because she's still giving interviews because the show is currently just finished episode 5. They got 3 episodes to finish this whole mishgas up, and we'll see how it goes. But we'll talk about it. We're also going to talk about one of my favorite things that we do get to discuss is Nepo babies. But now, of course, because the world is full of boring people, somehow Nepo babies has been turned into a discussion about sexism via Emma Roberts.
Yeah, it's actually talking about Nepo babies is sexism and misogyny in disguise.
It's just boring. So we're going to talk about that. And also, I have a question for all of you, and I do want you to answer because we were creating a thumbnail today, and I said, I don't know if everyone's going to know what this term means. Do you know what NEETs are?
Actually, you know what? We should have started a poll before we started the show. We should ask them if they're NEETs.
Okay, well,
if you guys haven't heard of the term, I'll explain more later, but the acronym stands for Not in Employment, Education, or Training.
So I'm putting, are you a NEET?
Yeah, all caps.
Question mark.
So that's what it stands for.
Just that good?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, here we go.
You're not in school. You do not have a job. And I think it might have an implication that you're doing this by choice.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But I think not. Maybe if you lose your job and you don't have a job again yet, but
No,
you're
that
like
just means you're
looking for a
unemployed and you're unemployed but looking. See, we got to give everything a description. What's the name for something that's UEBL?
What?
Ubel, unemployed but looking.
Oh, is that a thing?
No, it's not. I'm saying, but you can turn anything into a thing if you try hard enough.
Got it. Okay. Well, we'll just imply here that the poll is asking you if you're choosing to do so.
Okay. And then we're not just going to talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff to get into. It's going to be a lot of fun today. So if you're ready, Mary, since it is just us, would you like to get started?
I am ready.
Okay.
First things
first, in weird food news, which I always happy to do, Heinz launched a limited edition sauce that combines all of its sauces.
Why are you thinking this is gross immediately? You haven't even tried it.
I have no desire to try this.
In total honesty, like they are getting desperate.
Yes.
Because they've run out of combinations, they've run out of stupid names, but this
Even
isn't.
the color is awful. It looks like pus.
It doesn't have a great color. They could have maybe just made an opaque bottle, but they combined burger sauce, garlic sauce, aioli sauce, smoky baconaise, sweet chili, chip sauce, saucy sauce. I don't even know what saucy sauce is, but okay. Mayo racha, mayo must, truffle mayo, garlic and caramelized onion mayo, curry ketchup, ew, pickle ketchup, maybe, smoky bacon ketchup. That's all in one.
Smoky bacon and mayo racha belong nowhere near each other.
Well, the mayo chup is like their most popular one.
No, I'm sorry. Smoky bacon and mayo must belong nowhere near each
Mayo
other.
must sounds like a weird, like skin bacteria infection.
That's disgusting, and I want nothing to do with any of this. They are getting desperate though for all this stuff. You know what it is? It's sitting right next to the Chick-fil-A sauce that they sell at the store that just keeps selling out.
This is not as bad as the pink sauce, though, I will say.
I do buy the Chick-fil-A sauce at the store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's acceptable.
Okay, and I use it for multiple things. Here's a question for you. Okay. Like, do you ever use, like, I always wanted to run this experiment on people. It's like you give them, like, McDonald's, like, chicken nuggets, but you give them Burger King barbecue sauce. You mix the barbecue sauces from different places with different foods because it would be different because the texture and the taste of all of them is different. So imagine, like, you're at McDonald's, but you get Burger King barbecue sauce.
I do not go to Burger King ever. I think I maybe was...
That's your loss.
Maybe the last time I ate Burger King was, like, literally when I was, like, 9 years old. Yeah. That's just that's a no from me, dog. I'm
gonna start doing that to people. Be like, here's your sauce. They're like, do you have any McDonald's sauce for this? Like, no, no, hell no. So to go with my like the pantry full of Taco Bell sauces.
I have so many.
I have no doubt.
It's an entire drawer of Diablo sauce. Because now I never have to buy hot sauce.
Yeah.
I'm just going to use that.
Yeah.
Easy.
That's what your junk drawer is for, remember.
That's the junk drawer.
That's what the junk drawer is for.
That and washers and
rubber bands. I have rubber bands. I have rubber bands.
Random receipts.
Yep. And Allen wrenches. Allen wrenches, stuff like that. All right.
Mine is just sauce.
Of course.
Wait, is that mayowana?
I'm assuming this is fake.
You could probably buy that in Colorado.
Probably. 420 sauce?
Wait, scroll down further. I think there's a beast churger. Thoughts? Would you try the beast churger?
I don't get it. It's just in reverse?
It's yeah.
Yeah. Your hands, like it just sticks to your hands.
Ew. Okay.
That's disgusting. Okay. All right, guys. It's time to move on. I do like this description. You wanted flying cars, but you get LED breast implants.
The worst invention since Kim Kardashian's nipple bra.
This has been checked for good for YouTube, right?
Yes, it's fine. Okay. It's fine.
Sorry for questioning whether something on Twitter might be porn.
Well, yeah, it's not too far-fetched.
Not getting copyrighted.
So you put the implant, it's like an actual implant. It's not just something you put in your clothes. This seems dangerous. You can control it with an app.
Enabled. It's Bluetooth enabled or Wi-Fi enabled. I love it.
What?
Oh, it's got the different textures and colors.
This is for like I guess like people who go to raves, they don't have any accessories. It's just their boobs. This has got to be fake though. Gives headlights a whole new meaning.
Yeah, it really does.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
You know what they should do? They should make a version
Whole
of
new
it.
meaning to flashing.
Like
flashing.
But what if you hook it up like the clapper so you can go and turn them on?
Oh, yeah.
That would be good.
Powerful.
That would be good. But yeah, you imagine that like for a girl like that, she just takes a bunch of dudes home and doesn't tell them that this is going to happen when they have one night stands.
Amazing.
That's very disturbing. Thank you. I think I saw this like last week and I'm like,
better than flying cars?
maybe. Flying cars are dangerous, okay? We all know this.
True,
All right. Ariana Grande is getting some crap because she made a very, very bland statement that I don't find to be controversial at all.
Well, she does have a bit of a fixation on Jeffrey Dahmer.
I mean, she's a woman. Women love serial killers. Sorry.
I mean, yeah. That's not surprising.
The
but she
true
was
crime
just
genre
bold.
is kept...
She was bold to say it. That's Dancetastic. Send us a $20. He said, hi, just wanted to say thanks for doing this show. It's one of the things I look forward to every day. Next week, are you doing show Friday? Also, be nice. My family has a history of Mayo Must. Hey, that is kind of like the dick lamp.
Yeah, well, the question is like, is there like, for the women with breast enlargements and the guys get like the penis enlargements, does it like just light up at the part where your penis has been extended? Inquiring minds want to know.
Oh, I didn't. My mind was not inquiring that.
But you're
as
welcome.
For Friday,
We will not.
No, 4th and 5th, Thursday and Friday next week.
We will be doing a show
on vacation.
On my birthday, though, on the 2nd. So feel free to.
True.
Yes.
You should do what I did and shout out your Venmo. Or is it too shameless?
I'm not going to do that.
I'm not above it.
I do encourage everyone to super chat on my birthday, though.
Anyway, on this this same podcast appearance where she was talking about her experiences at Nickelodeon, Ariana Grande talked about her dream dinner guest being Jeffrey Dahmer.
For the Dahmer series, before it was in a Q&A with fans, with young fans.
The way she keeps switching her voice again.
I think it was like in between like me being Kat and pop stuff. So it was like a younger group. Okay. But it was with a parent. Someone said, if you could have dinner with anyone living or dead, who would it be? And I was like, oh, you're so cute. Who, mom and dad, is it okay if I give the real answer? And they were like, sure, I guess. What's the answer? And I was like, I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer's pretty fascinating. I think I would have loved to have met him. Wow. Like, you know, maybe with a third party or something involved. But I have questions. I have a lot.
She wasn't his type anyways.
No, not even close.
Like, what's it called? Hybristophilia?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The sexual attraction to criminals.
Yeah. And to be fair, she didn't say that. All she said was, he's interesting. Right? You don't get to create 40 years of culture around the interesting nature. You don't get 15 seasons of Criminal Minds without creating at least a couple of people who find the idea of serial killers interesting.
I don't know how Netflix gets away with creating a series about Jeffrey Dahmer.
To be fair, there was a lot of pushback on that show.
To a degree, but it was not that much. It was very popular. And Ariana Grande can't get away with saying this, that she finds him interesting. I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't understand what would be so interesting about this person. I watched the movie they made about him with Ross Lynch. It you know, it's just a very boilerplate, like psychologically disturbed deviant. And I don't really find that interesting.
Is there a person that you would like? Who is a controversial person that you would like to meet?
To have as my dream dinner guest?
Okay, I'm not saying dream, because that's a loaded question that makes it seem like I would pick this awful person above everyone else.
There are plenty of interesting people you wouldn't want to go out to dinner with.
Who is a controversial person that you would like to be able to sit down and talk to?
Like publicly or privately?
Privately. Let's say privately, so there's no...
well, I mean, Trump, obviously, but other than that, I don't know. Yeah. What about you?
I don't know. That's...
I almost feel like Trump is too easy of an answer, but it is the real
No,
answer.
I was looking for more controversial.
More controversial than Trump?
Yeah. Like, if we're looking for in this territory.
In the territory of criminals.
Yes.
Oh, criminals? I mean, I don't... This is the thing. They're criminals because... And they're locked up because you don't want to be around them.
Yeah.
Like someone like Eileen Wuornos, sure, she's interesting from a distance. I don't want to have dinner with Eileen Wuornos. Yeah. Maybe Anna Delvey.
There you go. Yeah.
Financial crimes.
Financial
Elizabeth
crimes.
Holmes. It's one of those girls.
Financial crimes is a safe bet. Okay, so I was reading this story because I was talking to you earlier about being annoyed that I was reading how Kevin Bacon was complaining about the misogyny of the show The Following because all the women that were being killed, right? And I read somewhere that apparently he did that show because he lost up all his money to Madoff. Like him and Kira Sedgwick lost like a ton of money. I don't know if that's true. It was a comment crazy. I read in the comment section. They could have made that up. But it would have been interesting to talk to somebody like Bernie Madoff. To
Bernie Madoff? Like after he's convicted? Yeah. And you can ask him why he did what he did. Like
how does it snowball? How does it get started?
I forgot to say Martin Shkreli.
There you go.
Like, of course. Because he's actually a funny, personable guy. But most criminals, probably not someone I would want to go to dinner with.
Yeah. Yeah. So she
But anyway, it got worse for her.
People were mad.
TMZ really threw her under the bus because they reached out to the family member of one of the Dahmer victims. This says, it doesn't sit well with the loved ones of Tony Hughes, a deaf, nonverbal victim Dahmer targeted and killed in 1991. Shirley, Tony's mother, tells TMZ she hopes Ariana understands how hurtful her comments are, noting the confession made her emotional. She was also disturbed when Ariana laughed during the podcast about her Dahmer fascination. Shirley wants the singer and the general public to know she and other victims' families experience very real pain anytime Dahmer is brought up. And she adds, to me, it seems like she's sick in her mind. It's not fancy or funny to say you would have wanted to do dinner with him. It's also not something you should say to young people, which she says she did. And she says it's troubling Ari didn't seem to show any empathy for the victim's loved ones. And Tony's sister, Barbara, also told TMZ that these comments glamorize Jeffrey Dahmer. She'd love to see Ariana apologize so her fans know this isn't right. And
I don't mean to be mean, but no.
That's not going to happen, no. But
that's you don't again. Look, you're talking about a disconnect that's almost imperceptible to somebody in this position, right? She's not approaching this from the horrified vantage point of someone who suffered at his hand. This is what happens when you turn horrible tragedy into art and commerce.
Oh, well, sure. I mean, of course, after you watch the Netflix show about a serial killer, yeah, maybe you know that it's a real story, but you're still watching it like it's just a fictional movie. You don't really understand the gravity of it. But yeah, Tony's sister also says, unfortunately, until it happens to her and her family, she just doesn't know what we have been through. Factual, but no one can ever understand what they have been through. Yep. But yeah, it's just white women's obsession with true crime rearing its ugly head. Personally, if I said that on a podcast and the family member of some serial killer victim said something in response, I would be horrified. Like, I would be so mortified. I don't know if she's ever going to see this, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's, like, super online or anything.
Ariana Grande.
But responding is just going to make it worse.
Oh, yeah. Like, there's like, no upside to responding in this case. And it's, again...
Generally, I would say, don't apologize. Keep it pushing.
Yes. And I don't think that there's anything that she did that was inherently evil or wrong. If these studios can make millions of dollars off these stories, she can have a mild fascination and ask a question and answer a question.
Either all of it is okay or none of it is okay.
Exactly.
And I would err on the side of it not being okay, because those shows and movies do kind of glamorize, or not glamorize, they romanticize these people.
Yeah.
Instead of telling a story about like how someone became so psychologically depraved.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's That's an ugly situation.
All right. Let's move on then, shall we? Let's move on to something that I found a little bit more interesting. I want to talk about the writer of X-Men 2, X-Men United. He agrees with Alan Cumming. Of course, Alan Cumming is in that film. He plays Nightcrawler. And he says that X2 was a gay film. He called it the gayest movie he ever made.
Yeah. And the writer of X-Men responded.
David Hayter, yes.
And he was just overjoyed to hear that because he says that was actually the goal.
No, it wasn't.
Should we listen to his his takes here?
Here we go.
I was thrilled when I heard that Alan Cumming had called X2 the gayest film he'd ever worked on. Yeah, it made me really happy, and I was so glad that we had done right by him. He's such a an icon for gay rights, and Ian McKellen
Is he? I don't know.
Also,
him and
really
Ian McKellen are
recognized
both
Okay.
the allegory of it from a gay perspective, but also but our overall goal with the X-Men in general was just exclusion. For anyone, anyone who faced hatred or exclusion or
He's
judgment,
disproving his own point.
Felt compelled to do the right thing, like we had the Holocaust and
Wait, there's an
opening
allegory of the
X1,
Holocaust in
Magneto
X-Men?
paraphrases,
Yes.
What?
Malcolm X at the end. He says we're going to fight this war by any means.
This almost sounds too ambitious.
So it's really for anybody who feels exclusion, but we had a number of key creatives behind the camera and on camera who were gay, and so obviously that element was on our minds, and so the fact that came through was and felt fulfilling for Alan really meant a lot to me personally.
Here's the problem with that. Look, the allegory was always about the disenfranchised and the misunderstood. At the time these movies were coming out in the early 2000s, that spoke to a lot of people that were not just LGBTQIA+. Look,
Yeah.
we're talking about the area. Remember we were talking about like Gen X and slackers and goths and anyone that wasn't a jock that didn't fit in. And the beauty of it is the story's told in a way that it can speak to anyone. So to retroactively go back and say that it's a gay story is unbelievably disingenuous because it was never the point.
Well, that's not what David Hayter is saying. I think he's saying he appreciates the interpretation, but that it also can apply to literally anyone who ever felt excluded.
Exactly.
He's trying to say something nice to Alan Cumming for his interpretation being that it's about gay people, but I don't think he necessarily is saying that he's on board with that take.
And like he's saying what, like in the chat, so he says, what gay scene? There was no
gay
scene
scene.
of that.
Well, it says he mentioned in the second clip that they have in this article that it's referencing like what was it? It was one scene where one of the characters' moms says, "Have you ever tried being human?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, that's clearly about
There's
your parents not
yes.
accepting you
Those
when you
are
come
true.
out as gay."
Those scenes are as a bit on the nose, is that it's very clearly an allegory to parents that aren't accepting of their children.
That sounds very on the nose.
For the time period, though, these stories weren't ever in the early 2000s. These stories weren't everywhere in Hollywood.
Should have stayed that way.
And that's the problem. And the other thing that I think that's interesting about it is like they were told at a time when we had a lot more perspective about how good we have it here in America.
Mm-hmm.
Like we understood that we had it pretty good. And I think today, especially newer generations, take for granted everything that they have just being born here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unbelievably boring to equate every story about being misunderstood or struggle or disenfranchisement. Look, goths were a thing. People being like, at this time, I would say that it would also equate to things like kids who felt disenfranchised, like Columbine.
But things have been totally reinterpreted where
Yes.
now if you see online discourse about a subculture like goth, they're going to claim that actually black, trans, disabled gay people invented the goth scene.
Yes.
Therefore they deserve all the credit for creating every subculture ever. And also people want to believe that the grass is greener on the other side. So generally what you say about taking things for granted, they believe that their struggle is solely because of their skin color, genitalia, gender identity, whatever it may be. And they genuinely are convinced that straight white males in this country do not have any genuine struggles.
Yes.
Period. And that's like, they want to believe that the grass is greener on the other side, because the reality of it is actually much more bleak, but also more full of opportunity.
And it gives them something to aspire to that they can never attain.
It's something to just scapegoat. It's something to be mad about.
The other thing is, like, look, even at this time period, it wasn't cool to be a comic book fan. It wasn't. Just because they made a couple of movies in the early 2000s, you weren't yet considered
cool
mainstream
now?
or cool. I mean, it's far more mainstream now than it was in the early 2000s and in the late 90s. And you watch those early X-Men movies, and the themes are so much better. Like, one of the reasons I always point out to go rewatch X1, X2 is there is a stunning lack of annoying Marvel humor in those films. And you get into topics like the Mutant Registration Act, which of course Magneto and all of them oppose, and all of these things. Look, and that's the allegory there for Magneto being having been in a concentration camp. Look, all of these things were deeply complex and adult themes that were put into a movie that still did a lot of great action sequences and was something that could be consumed by everyone and enjoyed. It didn't have to equate to any one specific idea or subgroup. Every subgroup that ever felt marginalized, whether you're, I mean, at that time, that could just be somebody going through puberty. People going through puberty feel detached and like they don't fit in because your body is changing, right? Anyone can identify with the X-Men, and that's the beauty of good art. And to see it boiled down into a 2024 take it just bums me out, I guess, a little bit more than it should, because I don't want to do, I don't want to see that happen with the, like, imagine as bad as stuff is now, like in 20 years when somebody has to be like how will they interpret movies like Nope or Get Out in 20 years?
I don't know. I haven't seen Nope. I did see Get Out. I thought Get Out was a surprisingly good and genuinely funny and thrilling take.
Yep. And in 20 years, it'll be reinterpreted as something completely different. It's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
It did a great job of like making fun of the virtue signaling white libs.
Yep. I'd vote for Obama a third time if I could. All right. And yes, in that movie, by the way, Alan Cumming will always be Boris Grishenko from GoldenEye to me. And of course, Ian McKellen is actually an icon in the LGBTQIA plus community. So that's...
I was not aware.
Yes. It is what it is. I just don't like the reinterpretation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day? People have been submitting cute of the day, which is good.
Well, let's look at the cute first.
Okay. We will do that.
Since you mentioned it.
All right.
Someone said that they hadn't gotten their cute of the day reviewed yet.
What was
Sorry
the name?
about that. I forget now. I'm sure we'll find it. We'll figure it out.
Okay. First things first from Gracie. It says, 3 amigos, Thumper, Bobtail Cat, Grace, Miss Fatty, and Batman, Mr. Stinky.
Oh, pretty eyes.
It's a very mischievous
cute.
looking cat right there.
Love it.
All right, hold on here.
Is everything good?
Yep, we're good. Oh,
That's an actual potato
it's
with
even
eyes.
got a derpy tongue. All right, let's do one more.
No
here.
thoughts.
No thoughts. Let's do one more here.
Zero thoughts.
All right, this one.
Haven't we seen this one? Maybe I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong.
I've
No, we
re-added a
didn't see this
few
one. This is
to
cute.
double check, but that's a cute looking
Look at
cat
this.
right there.
So fat. So fat.
Okay. All right, guys, and you can submit to hashtag PCCPets and tag me in there. And we
He's
do
wearing
have.
socks.
Oh gosh.
No, they're not actually
Okay.
socks. Looks like it though.
All right, here we go. All right.
I thought that there was another.
What was the
Cringe.
other one?
This one.
All right, here we go.
When you and I are working on the night shift.
Bro, Grande is rocking these days. Working on the night. Anyway, hey, we got a 25 Ram 1500 SST. Come get it.
Y'all want to know who I date, who I go with?
Nope. I think you think you're black. Hey, we got a 25 SST Ram truck, come holla.
I wanna suck me too. I wanna suck me too.
My baby mama's grandma's got a fatter ass than you. You should take that thing and just go park it somewhere else. Hey, we got a 24 Jeep Gladiator that just came in. John, come holla.
In my mind, this guy doesn't even work for the dealership.
He's just a random
he's just recording outside.
So I'm about to get railed by two guys, which is something I do quite often, if I'm honest with myself.
At least you don't lie to yourself. Ride that train straight to Andy Elliott's house. Fuck you, Patrick. Hey, we got a 23 Dodge Scat Pack that... God, you're so gross. Come holla.
I like that he doesn't even film in widescreen so you can see the whole car.
It's like totally irrelevant.
The car is so poorly framed you can't even see the front of it. It's just the side.
As a woman that identifies as straight, it's really important that I'm doing my part during Pride as an ally. So this month I will be eating out 4 pussies.
Okay.
Wait, there was another Cringe, so
Do you want to
we should watch that one.
the one that I was just on earlier?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. I think I have seen this one.
Thank you. You were playing
Look at it.
basketball?
Holy shit, bro. I want to just bust a fat nut on them.
On what?
Wait.
Not the
fuck,
British
I thought I was
accent.
muted. My bad. Oh my god, I thought I was muted.
Who were you talking to
muted,
though?
I was talking to my
Oh,
sorry.
no.
Wait, who is she talking to?
What?
I don't get it. Like,
She's in. It seems like she's in like a Discord call or something.
Okay.
He thought he was muted.
hate it when that happens.
Okay.
All right.
Yikes.
That is enough cringe for the day. Ooh. All right, time to get started. Let's tell everybody what's going on with J.K. Rowling because she's pissing everyone off again.
Yeah, I am not surprised J.K. Rowling is making people angry again. And this time it's because there are new updates about her Harry Potter series that is still in the works at HBO Max. And we talked about this when it was originally announced, but they have finally found a writer and showrunner as well as a director. They've got Francesca Gardner as the writer and showrunner, and Mark Mylod. Am I saying that right?
It sounds like Mylod.
Mylod is tapped to direct multiple episodes. Both of them worked on Succession in the past.
Yep. So here's some of her credits for writing.
Yeah.
So she did, it seems like her most recent work that was multiple episodes was 2020 to 2022. She was working on His Dark Materials, but she also did episodes of The Man in the High Castle, Medici, Crossing Lines, The Transporter.
He's also directed episodes of
Yes.
Game of Thrones.
I want to point out
And the
that-
second season of The Last of Us, ooh.
I want to point out that doing episodes of Crossing Lines and The Transporter are not to be said as positives. I love those shows, but they're not exactly high entertainment like high class television.
It seems like you would know more about this than I would. Who has more authority on how the show comes out? The showrunner and writer or director?
Showrunner.
Okay. The director cannot make any.
I mean, the
any edits.
The director's job is going to be to bring the showrunners and the writers' ideas to life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's fair. He also directed The Menu, which I really liked.
There you go. That's a good one.
But yeah, that's been in development since 2021, and I guess it's finally getting off the ground. I don't know who they've cast
He's done
still
16
for the child
episodes
stars.
of Succession, so that's pretty impressive.
But they have not announced the child actors who are going to be reprising the roles
Those poor
of
kids.
the original cast. I just know that once they are chosen and once they start doing press for this, it's going to be a mess. Like, I already know that there are going to be interviewers who want to corner them and ambush them with weird culture war bullshit. And I just really hope they're protected from the online discourse more than anything. But J.K. Rowling also released a statement when this came out. She said, "I'm truly thrilled to announce our director and writer, both of whom I have interviewed as part of the production team." So she's really hands-on. She said both have a genuine passion for Harry Potter, and having read Francesca's pilot script and heard Mark's vision, I'm certain the TV show will more than live up to expectations.
It is fair to point out that she was very involved in the entirety of the film franchise production, right? This isn't like Hogwarts Legacy, where she basically signs off to let them make the game that she wants. I don't think that she's going to allow this to just be made in whatever way they see fit. She's going to be heavily involved in this. And that's the
How
beauty
much involvement did she have in Fantastic Beasts?
She was a writer on multiple scripts. Like she was a lot of people were take digs at her because they're like, you can write books, but you're not exactly the greatest script writer. And that's,
so she
fine.
thankfully has delegated that to someone else.
Yes.
But she's clearly saying that, you know, without saying it, that she's not going to let anyone get away with anything.
Yeah.
Or try to ruin her
she's
franchise.
she's going to be one of the last authors that'll be allowed to do that because her contracts don't allow people to make a lot of decisions without her.
Right. So I just want to go into some of the responses to this. A lot of people who generally are, I guess, on our side of the culture war.
As much as that,
were responding to her tweet. And they were saying things like, as long as Dobby doesn't end up as a non-binary blue-haired female, I'll be happy. Another one said, thank God Harry Potter won't get the Star Wars treatment. Another one said, at least having you there, it won't be a woke disaster. Another one said, would it become the woke nonsense like any other modern series, or will it be true Harry Potter we all love? That's the only question that bothers me. Another one said, don't let Disney touch it, and woke it up. Laughing emoji. It's just a lot of, it's heavy-handed current year politics discourse, and they don't seem like they're Harry Potter fans. They seem like they're J.K. Rowling fans, which is fine, but don't pretend that you're like some kind of rabid Harry Potter
They don't want the show to come out good because they like it. They want it to come out a certain way because they want to own the libs.
And you know what? Your enemies' L's are not your W's.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, that's actually that's quite deep.
It's true. It's true. When Disney fucks up the Acolyte and releases a pile of shit, yes, I like to see it, but it's not a W culturally. A W culturally is J.K. Rowling successfully keeping her creative vision faithful in this TV series, and it comes out and it does fantastically well, and it doesn't get bogged down with a bunch of talk about her personal opinions about gender ideology.
And that would be one of the
That's biggest,
a W. That would be one of the biggest, hardest W's to reach to, because her talking points are so heavily contested in the space where all of this discourse happens, which is places like Twitter, right? Like, there's a reason why when Hogwarts Legacy came out, it became a weird cultural talking point, despite the fact that it was just a video game.
And the fact that she was barely involved in it.
Exactly.
Aside from getting the checks.
To be able to get this show from pre-production to production all the way through, think of the amount of hands it has to go through. You have to go through script writers, script editors, producers, directors, all of these people. Anywhere along the line, those people could fall victim to just wanting to appease the people that are complaining on the internet. Not to mention what's going to happen to the poor child actors who are going to get absolutely dragged through this.
You know
crap.
what? Just don't give them any interviews. Just
Seriously.
keep them away from the press, because the journalists out there who want to ask them questions are demons. But I wanted to read some other responses here. One said she can't bring herself to respond directly and publicly to Daniel Radcliffe's comments about her transphobia, so instead decides to commission an entire new visual adaptation of her books to shade them. Both hilarious and pathetic.
Yes, she commissioned this. No. HBO, Warner Brothers was like, you know what we like, guys? We like money. We like making
something
tons
Disney has never
and
said.
tons of fucking money, okay? And there's very few things that are as bankable still to this day as Harry Potter to normies.
And to act like her recasting the original characters is some kind of slight
Yes.
is kind of ridiculous.
Well, I mean, like, are they gonna do what she did? Like, where she's like, Hermione was black. Like the.
Well, some people did say that, actually. One person said all of J.K. Rowling's fans celebrating under her tweet while also hoping it's not too woke. Meanwhile, I'm 99% certain that they're about to cast a little black girl as Hermione in order to divert hate away from the author and onto an innocent child. They think that they're going to cast Hermione as a black girl in order to make the controversy about a race swap rather than about J.K. Rowling. This master plan is not adding up to me.
It would just intensify both. If anything, it would draw more attention to it, not less.
Exactly. So you know what? I hope that doesn't happen for the child actor's sake and for the sake of the story being faithful to the original.
Well, I mean, I just like what's going to be interesting is like, are they going to be adapting? I still don't know the strong details of like, is each season going to be a book? It's very hard to do that if you're going to keep these kids looking the same age from year to year to year to year.
Yeah.
Not an easy thing to produce and do. I mean, even when you think about what it took to get these books made, like these movies made at the time, like it was a big deal to be able to get them all done before the kids grew up too fast.
Yeah, that's your entire life.
Yeah.
Basically.
So these kids are going to be dragged through the coals. It's going to be awful. And not just that, but the adult actors too. So one of the interesting things about it is like a lot of the older actors that worked on Harry Potter were very live and let live with J.K. Rowling's views. We're like, look, like basically tried to say like, look, she's allowed to view whatever she wants. It was the kids that came out and had the strongest takes because that ideology is most prevalent amongst children.
Well, amongst millennial
adults, but they were kids. The ones who were kids when it was being made, who are now young adults, had the most to say because that ideology is playing the biggest role in their lives. The older people are like, oh, no, these people with the he's and the she's and the theys. The point being, yeah, exactly. Like, remember who was it? When the lady who played Professor Sprout was like, "Will you guys grow up?"
Wait, when was that?
There's like an interview recently.
Oh no, we talked about that. About she was talking about like Harry Potter fans who are in their 20s and 30s. Like, grow up, it's for kids.
In the trap, in the Nouse trap says Harry Potter ages through the books. Yes, but I'm saying, to get a movie made or a show made, it takes a specific length of time, and then you have to do press, and then the show releases, then you go back into production, and it cannot keep up with how fast. Look at Stranger Things. Okay,
right. That's not a good example.
It's a very, very difficult scheduling thing, to hurdle.
Especially once they get more success and more jobs in the middle of
Miriam
the show.
Margolyes was the lady who said, well, I wish these Harry Potter fans would just grow up.
Also, I saw one person who seems to ostensibly agree with J.K. Rowling's take on gender say that there's a double standard when it comes to the enforcement of the cancellations. They said Kanye got dumped by Adidas for a few interviews and a tweet. J.K. Rowling has gone off on trans people every day for 5 years, and she gets to produce an HBO show. Karen privilege at its best. This Karen privilege.
She's kind of like Mel Gibson. She's just too embedded to be cancelable.
Damn, if she teamed up with Mel Gibson on something, that would be actually really cool.
Like, what would that be? Like, I would like to see them make like they'll go off into a separate universe and make a Hagrid horror movie where he becomes evil.
They need to make like a noir about Robert Galbraith. Make a story about her pen name.
Yeah. I mean, or get him to do a CB Strike movie. Like the Corman Strike books. Have them like she's promoting like the next season of that right now.
She also wrote Argyle, so there's that.
We don't know. We are the fake news.
Another person said, oh wow, you're tweeting about something other than trans people? That must have been really hard since you're so obsessed with them. Like how you seem to stop caring about Fantastic Beasts when that flopped. Anyways, boycott this show.
Yeah.
Guys, don't boycott this show.
It's not gonna happen.
If you're genuinely interested in it, watch it. Honestly, if you're just trying to watch something out of spite because J.K. Rowling is making money off of it, that's lame.
Yeah.
If you care about watching it and you think it will be entertaining, give it a chance.
That's the, like, ignore the culture war in that aspect of it for it. Yeah. Only check something out if it actually genuinely interests you.
Right.
Right. And we'll see where it goes. I mean, we're a long way off from this being done anytime soon because production will take a long time.
I'm sure.
Production, post-production, release dates and stuff like that.
Watch them like cast like one of Prince William's children in it. Like the ultimate monarchy Nepo cast.
They made they did make Hermione black in the stage play.
Yeah,
but that's the stage play. And
you can
did you see that
anything
that they got another actress playing Juliet in that stage play? I think like she was an understudy.
That was one day when she was like sick or something.
It was really funny because then people were like, they replaced her. I'm like, no, they didn't replace her, but understudy.
Yeah.
But of course, there's like the one day where a clip came out of them doing the curtain call for that.
Right.
Yeah. We'll wait and see.
She was thinner. So.
Was she?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll wait and see, but pray for those kids that they come out of this unscathed because the
guys,
media is
one
not
like
going
equals
to be,
one prayer.
Yes. The media will not be kind to them and they will be forced to take sides. And it's sad because to me, Harry Potter is one of the few examples of one of the things that's pretty much untouched by, like, normies love it. They still love it, and if they know about what J.K. Rowling's thoughts are on trans people, they either pretend they don't or they don't care. They've made that value judgment. They're like, look, I agree, I disagree, but I love this too much to say no.
People are definitely starting to jump ship off of the trans ideologies, but that's a conversation for another day. I think that's proof of it. Yesh said, first, that's me, Yesh. I did that. Yep, I was first. Congrats.
Also remember, guys, if you want to keep us here till 5, you're going to have to super chat more.
You are going to have to do that. Shane H. Wilder said, happy Thursday, Brett and Mary. I must say, I am enjoying the new short. Brett needs to do some and not let Mary have all the fun. The audience is asking. It's not easy, though, to put your phone in front of your face and just go.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, what I used to do is, so I would make a skating edit every day, and then I'd monologue a voiceover for each day for whatever my thoughts were on that day of skating or something that was on my mind. So I would monologue a 1-minute piece about it every single day for like 2 years. So it's
that's
actually
like journaling, but not.
Yeah. So it's vastly different when you're picking specific subject matter.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, so who all is watching the debate? I'll be watching it for work, but I'm probably going to have one earbud in for IRL commentary.
I mean, I don't really care because there's no John Fetterman on the debate stage, and that's really what I want. It's Fetterman 2024.
Are you going to be watching, though, in all seriousness?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Oh, you had to admit it to yourself in front of 1,000 people.
Might have to.
I am going to watch it because it's just, it's entertaining.
I mean, not really. Not if they have to sit down and they don't get to interrupt each other.
They have to sit down.
I don't know if they have to sit down. I know they get the buttons to prevent them from
interrupting. We're making too many concessions to the elderly.
Yeah.
You have to stand on your 2 feet for like, what, an hour?
Yeah. Let's hold off.
I am excited to see it, though, genuinely.
Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact.
Okay.
All right, time to talk about Leslie Headland and the Acolyte.
Yes, Leslie Headland, the creator and showrunner of the Acolyte, is still doing press for the show. And recently, she completely backtracked on calling this show the gayest Star Wars ever made. This was one of the original clips that started going viral before the show came out that massively enraged fans, and they thought this is just going to be a train wreck from this point on because we can see what these people think is important is not Star Wars, it's not the lore, it's not making an entertaining show, regardless. It is promoting gay stuff. And then as we've been reviewing the show, we realized that they kind of didn't fully follow up on that promise. It's not that gay of a show.
There is the talk about lesbian space witches because what was the line? I conceived them,
Okay, there were lesbian space witches who conceived Osha and May in the show. If you haven't watched it, that's all you need to know. There's not any graphic. There's not even a gay kiss. There's not even anything like that.
This is the thing that I complain about all the time. They shoot themselves in the foot when they do these press circuits. Whoever this journalist was hates them.
Yeah, I even tried to find the full interview from the Wrap because I wanted to see if there was some additional context for why they did this, but I couldn't find it at all. So really, we just had the 20-second clip. So in case you haven't seen it, we're going to rewatch it now.
Here we go.
They said, "We are happy to report that the Acolyte is arguably the gayest Star Wars yet. Happy Pride Month."
Hold on. Here we go.
I want to ask you both because this is,
Brace
I
yourself.
would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that? Are you
Not the
bracing
gayest
yourself?
Star Wars. Not the.
It's pretty gay. Let's be honest. Leslie, how do you feel?
Am I gay? Yes.
Well, no, I know
Yeah.
you are gay, but I'm asking, are you excited about putting this, this is going to be a talking point.
Is it going to be a talking point?
I'm sure some.
Because nerds are gay.
Well, some nerds are very not gay and are very threatened by gay
Well, that's
stuff.
true. But
Yeah.
in my world, nerds are gay.
Was this the fun element of it?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. And yet people have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I frankly.
You're offended?
Into it. No.
I think that Star Wars is so gay already.
Okay.
I mean, have you seen the fits? We'd be like, look how gay this is, and then send each other a reference photo.
And are you telling me with a straight face that C-3PO
With a
is
straight face.
They're a couple. That's what I think.
Are you telling me with a gay
is more
face?
I think it's canon that R2-D2 is a lesbian.
Oh,
Ooh.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Ask Filoni. Okay.
The point being that we're 5 episodes into the show now, and it's not the theme of the show.
It's not exactly a pride
It's got
parade.
little to do with the show. By posting these clips ahead of time, all you've done is handcuff yourself and make it harder for you to garner an audience.
Yeah.
So you're handicapping any effort you have to kind of win back people that might have been checked out, and there was no need for that.
Right.
It's like you're making
right.
the job harder on yourself.
We're only 5 episodes in, so something could surprise us in this latter half of the series, or the first season at least. I doubt it though. But I more likely is what you just said. She oversold the wokeness because she didn't think that it was going to backfire as bad as it did in the ratings and in the reviews. But it did, and now she's backtracking. She's running damage control. And here's what Leslie Headland said in a recent interview with The Hollywood Reporter regarding criticisms that the show is an LGBTQ series.
Mm-hmm.
"I don't believe that I've created queer with a capital Q content."
Remember when I was talking about X-Men 2 and I said not every story about adversity or feeling as if you are misunderstood has to be about some social theme like that? It doesn't have to be about a social group.
Yeah.
It could be far more nuanced and vague.
She went on to say, "I'm proud of being a gay woman who's accomplished this feat. And certainly, if my content is called queer, I don't want to disown whatever queerness is in the show. I would be proud to create something that inspired queer people. Honestly, I feel sad that people would think that if something were gay, that would be bad. It makes me feel sad that a bunch of people on the internet would somehow dismantle what I consider to be the most important piece of art that I've ever made." If the Acolyte is the most important piece of art that you've ever made, that actually is kind of devastating.
Well,
for
I mean, certainly if by important you mean the most expensive, then yeah, it was probably the biggest project she's worked on.
Yeah. Well, this line of inquiry started with, what makes a piece of mass entertainment gay? And this says, "I was surprised by the question." This is from the Rap interview. "Amanda and I just burst out laughing because that's our knee-jerk reaction to being asked that. But to be honest, I don't know what the term gay means in that sense." And that's when she said the rest of this.
Yes.
She wasn't really intending to make the gayest Star Wars ever made. But then when that sleazy journalist brought up the idea, she jumped all over it because she's gay and clearly an ideologue. And it's Pride Month, and she just got a little too high on her.
That interview might be from before. I don't know.
Before what?
Pride Month? I mean, it could
Do you
have been.
think?
Yeah.
I mean, I was saying because they tweeted it out during Pride Month, but I could be wrong.
It's so limiting in what it does to people's ability to interpret your art when you start adding monikers like that to it ahead of time. By calling something queer coded even, then people are going to you're asking people, you're almost begging people to look at it through that lens. Now they're going to interpret it through the lens that you're asking them to do. Kind of like how they keep criticizing. Thank you. People keep saying like, you just realized that that Homelander is a Trump allegory. Who cares?
Media literacy. We should do a whole topic on media literacy.
Right? So it's like you're boxing yourself in by explaining it.
You're not just boxing yourself in. What you're doing is you're alienating.
Yes.
You're alienating.
But we have learned, and this doesn't necessarily seem to be the case here, but what we've learned is they hate in Hollywood when you don't interpret their art the way that they want you to. Back in the day, they put the art out there, and then it was up to you to interpret it in whatever way you saw fit. Now, maybe the director or the lead actor gives an interview down the line, but not as many people had access to it because the internet wasn't as much of a thing.
Yeah.
Now, you're kind of inundated with responses about how you, the audience, should interpret this piece of art.
Yeah.
And that's a problem when you're asking people to go in with an open mind.
Right. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with boxing yourself in and making something that's really niche. But what you don't do in that situation is slap the name of a multi-billion-dollar franchise on it.
Yeah.
And you don't tell me I'm a bad person for not liking it. And you don't make false claims about review bombing. And you don't alienate the very people who you were trying to siphon money from. That's really the problem. And she does, frankly, seem like an insufferable, out-of-touch Hollywood person in this interview and in every interview. And it's further pushing people away, and this never needed to happen.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, though, they can't find a solid middle ground. The Mandalorian was a solid middle ground. A lot of people liked Andor, but there was no media buzz outside of
weird,
deep
right?
lore Star Wars.
Why
circles.
is there only media buzz when something is getting shit on?
Well, I mean, the thing, they had it with the Mandalorian. They had it in season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian.
Okay.
Then they lost it. Nobody we covered. We reviewed Kenobi.
Yes, we did.
Right, but nobody cared about Andor outside of people deeply into Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So the only options are either Grogu, Baby Yoda, and everybody hates you.
Honestly,
if you want heavy press,
people didn't even seem to care that much about Ahsoka. Am I wrong?
I mean, no, there was a decent amount of press beforehand, but it didn't really amount to much. And that show did better numbers in its first week than what this show did. Remember, 14.1 million viewers in the first 5 days. This did 11 million.
The outrage marketing is not hitting like it used to.
And the thing is, it's the law of diminishing returns. So it's the outrage doesn't last the whole way through. So they're not gonna I don't know what the numbers are now, but I guarantee you, whatever they're publishing, it's
Decimated.
not the numbers they got.
We're gonna be the last two people watching episode 8 of the
Acolyte. Us in Star Wars Theory, or we'll be the last ones watching it. And yeah. I guess that's the way it is, but they don't have any other way to market this stuff, and it's not going to make them any money because it's not driving subscriber growth. You can't tell me that people are signing up for Disney Plus just to watch The Acolyte.
No. And anyone who claims that they're crazy about this show, they just love it. I don't believe you. I just saw these fan cam edits of Khmer / Darth Gimp Mask / Darth Edgelord, whatever you want to call him, Smilo Ren.
I saw some.
There were thirst edits. There were thirst edits of Smilo Ren. Like, please make it make sense. There's something seriously wrong with women these days if they can find that attractive. It's literally Ezra Miller from Wish, and Ezra Miller wasn't even attractive.
I will say that he's the only competent actor besides Master Soul.
Okay, that's okay.
It.
That doesn't mean he's sexy. And when I saw the face reveal part of the show, I was like, oh, they really thought that women were going to be swooning at this part, didn't they? Yeah. And they actually did.
Yeah.
I am so disappointed in
beyond
my
measure.
gender right
beyond
now.
measure. And
my day is ruined.
Nothing you can do. So she did this to herself. Really, the interviewer did this to her. Compound that with the bad press that came from the old clip of Amanda Stenberg from the 2018 movie, and you've been kind of screwed from the start.
They just can't stop shoving their foot in their mouth.
No.
They just love the taste of feet. Okay. Let's go back to Super Chats. Andrew Jacobs said Tim is, to quote, redacted, wrong TS equals evil feminist.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
Who's redacted? Oh, is it Trump? Wrong.
Wrong.
I would say Tim is wrong about that. Shane H. Wilder said, damn it, Brett, quit getting Mary sick.
Not my fault. You can't.
It's wild because we're sitting, what, 10 feet apart?
You can't
right
prove
now?
anything. This could come from anywhere.
Yeah. Drewish AF said, you haven't used my cute of the day. Same name.
I'll have to check, man. I apologize. It does happen.
Things happen. Greg Duvier said, what the hell? No Phil? I was going to give him an awesome idea of releasing more than one great song at once. Let's go, I guess.
Next week. You'll have to let him know next week.
I'm sure he's going to love that idea.
Well, let's do one more.
He loves ideas. Shane H. Wilder said saucy sauce sounds gay, limp wrist and all. It actually does.
A little bit.
It's like saucy sauce. Saucy sauce.
All right. Let's now that we've done that, let's move on then, shall we?
The Nepo baby discourse has been resurrected once again, and it's because actually a couple of famous Nepo nieces were in the news for the last couple of days. First of which is Morgan Freeman's niece, who seems to have a great knack for TikTok content creation. I
posted about this. I thought this was great.
This was great. It honestly was. I'm not even mad at it, but let's watch.
Here we go. This made me
It's a day in the life of the Nepo niece of Morgan Freeman.
Welcome to my niece's day in the life, narrated by me, Morgan Freeman. Justine begged for money for what she said would be a cultural experience in Spain. Does this sound like culture to you?
Could this have been done with AI? Is this fake?
It sounds like AI, but I don't know.
It's not even in Spanish. She asked for my credit card to book what she claimed was a little activity for her birthday. Imagine my surprise when I was charged for a yacht. Basically, she embezzled.
Embezzle?
Don't get me started on the birthday dress that really just looks like a nightgown, even though she's bossy.
Now take a picture.
I just can't say no to her apparently. See you tomorrow. Duh. Bye.
It's better if it's AI, honestly.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I found the reply. I found the fact check. This says, well, I've been informed it is AI Morgan Freeman narrating the video. Sorry for believing Morgan Freeman was a very sweet uncle. I mean, I'm sure he's an uncle to somebody.
He probably is a very sweet
uncle.
uncle.
And he probably has Nepo nieces and nephews, and that's
it's
just
actually better that it's not, and that she's just really smart at coming up with a clever idea.
But as you can tell, people are starting to be able to have more of a sense of humor about things when it comes to the nepotism discourse, except Emma Roberts. Not her. She doesn't find it funny at all.
Daughter of Eric Roberts and niece of Julia Roberts?
Right. Emma Roberts' father is Eric Roberts. I had not heard of him, actually.
Eric Roberts is a veteran TV actor, been around a long time.
More famous is her aunt, Julia Roberts. Correct. And you might have seen Emma Roberts in Scream Queens. And she also, to our surprise, was in Madam Web for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I forgot. It's Peter's mom.
She's been in a lot of things. But she has just talked about the criticism of Nepo babies and essentially equated it to misogyny.
Yep.
She says that these discussions about Nepo babies are too female focused. And here's her full quote in the full context. She said, growing up, watching her aunt become an A-list superstar as a kid showed her how scary that level of fame can be. She said, I saw very up close what it looks like. It's obviously fun and great, but there's a part of it that's really scary, so I've wanted to carve my own path. Fame has never been the goal. And she said, even in my later teens, I was like, I never want my fame to outweigh my work. So she cares about putting the work in and not getting opportunities and jobs just because of her last name. But anyway, she went on to say that Nepo baby accusations that she is contended with in her career are mainly directed at women, and that's an example of misogyny and sexism. She said, people say, you have a leg up because of your family in the industry, but then the other side to that is you have to prove yourself more. Also, if people didn't have good experiences with other people in your family, then you'll never get a chance. Everybody loves the kind of overnight success story. And so if you're kind of not the girl from the middle of nowhere that broke into Hollywood, there's kind of an eye roll, like, well, your dad was this. I always joke, Why is no one calling out George Clooney for being a Nepo baby? His aunt, Rosemary Clooney, was an icon. I feel like young girls get it harder.
Because George Clooney is George Clooney. Are you kidding me?
She said, I feel like young girls get it harder with the Nepo baby thing. Like, I don't really see people calling out sons of famous actors.
George Clooney.
Not that they should be called out.
George Clooney means something entirely different to an entirely different generation of people than his mother. Are you kidding me?
Well, that's true for Eric Roberts and Emma Roberts as well.
Okay, but they're not called. But is she being called a Nepo baby because of her dad or because of her aunt?
I hadn't heard of her dad, but that's
Exactly.
just me as a Gen Zer not having heard of him. And she also went on to say that people who criticize Nepo babies only see your wins because they only see when you're on the poster of a movie. They don't see all the rejection along the way. That's why I'm always very open about things I've auditioned for and haven't gotten.
Jaden Smith is constantly given shit for being the less talented, dorkier, worse version of Will Smith. And that's saying something given how far Will Smith seems to have fallen in the last 10 years.
He's even the dorkier, less talented version of his sister.
Colin Hanks is no Tom Hanks. Now, neither of them are any Chet Hanks, but that's besides the point, right?
If anything, Tom Hanks is the Nepo dad
of Chet Hanks.
Of Chet Hanks at this point, because he is such an icon for a generation.
Correct.
But yeah, like I think this has nothing to do with sexism.
Okay.
Genuinely.
I constantly point out how I want John David Washington to have a great career. He's never going to be Denzel Washington. It's got nothing to do with him being a dude. He's never going to be his dad.
Like, it's about people's proclivities, and I assume that the daughters of famous people will be more attracted to show business just because they're women.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like, oh, women are shallow, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying like probably men are gonna be gifted at more technical skills.
Scott Eastwood is a fine actor. He's not ever gonna be Clint Eastwood.
I had never heard the name Scott Eastwood.
I'm still mortified by the fact that Kevin Smith has a daughter named Harley Quinn Smith.
Oh, you have a family tree here, don't you? Yeah. I think we've gone over this before, but I think the New Yorker published a family tree of Nepo babies that we can show you guys.
Yes. Ooh, Scott Conn, another actor I like who's never going to be his dad, James Conn. Here, I'll just keep giving. I'm just going to.
But there are so many examples of people who did surpass their parents. It's just less obvious because you don't know who their parents are.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But who are the male examples? Like, that's what I want to know.
I gave you a bunch of them here. So, Jackson White. And that's apparently Katie Seagal is his mom. I don't know who the hell Jackson White is. Is that sexism?
I heard Timothy Chalamet is a Nepo baby. He's a Nepo son.
Look at some of these. Philip Seymour Hoffman has a son. Cooper Hoffman. Don't know who that is.
Yeah, I got no idea.
Yep.
Who else?
Charlie Hall is Brad Hall and Julia Louis-Dreyfus's son. No clue who he is.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Lily Rose Depp is one.
Well, she has not surpassed.
No, I'm saying, but she's popular right now, but she's never gonna be more famous than Johnny Depp, and that's okay.
You know what? I believe that when I have kids and they are teenaged, they will know who Lily Rose Depp is. They will not be as familiar with who Johnny Depp is.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, people always get surprised when it happens, but it's true. Like, time just keeps passing and people get forgotten.
Rumor Willis is not going to be as successful as Bruce Willis.
Why would you name your child Rumor? Why?
Very good question.
Mental illness. If anything, this proves that celebrities need to choose more mainstream names for their children.
Bryce Dallas Howard has reached a large amount of success, and there's probably plenty of people who don't know who Ron Howard is.
Yeah, definitely.
So
that's a good example.
Lewis Pullman, Bill Pullman's son. Look, I love Bill Pullman as an actor, but Lewis Pullman is not more famous than him.
What about Zoe Kravitz? What would you think of her?
Never going to be more famous.
Gen Z doesn't know who her parents are.
They don't know who Lenny Kravitz is?
No.
He's a musician and actor, but those are different mediums, so it's not really the same thing.
She's still mentioned most of these conversations. I mean, Gen Z doesn't know who Lenny Kravitz is. I've got to be honest. Gen Z doesn't know who who Dakota Johnson's parents are.
Don Johnson. Yeah.
They don't know who like.
That's okay.
That no one knows who Timothée Chalamet's parents are, and the list could go on.
The point of all of this is Hollywood is very much an incestuous industry, always has been, always will be. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about when Disney talks about hiring practices, and the subjective nature of everything in the arts means that you can hire whoever you want. And if I say the movie's great and somebody else says the movie's bad, who am I to say that their opinion means anything less than mine? Which opens the door for nepotistic casting, because who knows if somebody could have given this performance a better one. Maybe it was the director's fault. Maybe it was the writer's fault. Maybe it wasn't even the actor's fault that this went bad. I did see people making fun of the fact that what's his name? Who is it? Kevin Costner casted his son in Horizon. I'm like, well, he's the director, and I think he footed the bill for a lot of the movie, so I guess he can cast whoever the hell he wants.
Sure.
In that, I'm never gonna fault.
But as the recipient of that special privilege, would you feel proud of what you're doing?
Exactly. Okay, so the other thing is here is if you're gonna be the young actor who decides to go into this field, you better, harden your heart over the criticism that's about to come your way, and decide whether the potential fame, the money, and all of the exposure that comes with this industry is worth that nagging feeling of self-doubt that might always be there, that you only got to where you were because of your parents.
Everyone has certain privileges in life. It doesn't, I definitely don't lose any sleep when I remember that I was raised with certain privileges. I mean, you're privileged to even be born in this country, and I don't think there's any reason to feel bad about that.
I didn't know that Riley Keough was Elvis's granddaughter.
I didn't either. Wow.
I did not. Wow.
I didn't know that. But I'm just saying, it's only a problem if you lie about it and if you give all the credit to yourself.
All of the Skarsgårds are famous. Stellan Skarsgård, Bill Skarsgård, they're all famous.
And it's an incestuous industry, but so are a lot of other industries. I mean, you could say that about like plumbing because they're family-owned companies.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. Actually, family loyalty is a pretty good thing. What's unfortunate is that Hollywood practices family loyalty, but in all of the stories that they tell, they discourage it and they promote chosen family. It's very hypocritical.
It's so funny because to this day, I understand that that's hypocritical, but I do love when a chosen family story is done right. Usually it's something that takes place in the workplace, right? People who work in specific industries, they spend all their time with their colleagues. I do find something engaging about those stories.
Roommates.
Yeah,
like that
too. But for the most part, you don't see. I think a lot of that has to do purely from a production standpoint. It allows them to cast widely, and older, younger, different races, different all of the things that allows them to open it up to different backgrounds, which makes things more interesting. It's probably a lot harder actually to write good family dynamics in an interesting way that doesn't fall into melodrama as quickly.
Yeah.
So
fair point.
It's funny. They're going to have to learn to deal with it. They're going to have to learn to deal with the fact that people are going to see it a specific way. And no, I don't think this has anything to do with gender.
No.
I don't.
You could have worse problems to deal with.
You absolutely could.
Than people thinking you're too rich.
All right.
Okay. Pop Culture Junkie said, Mary, hope you feel better soon. Thank you.
She's working on it.
John Barrett said, Vegemite mayo. The people need Vegemite mayonnaise.
Ugh.
Maybe they need neither. How about that?
It all sounds
Vegemite. Elijah Schaefer had us all try Vegemite when he was on IRL.
Yeah.
Did you have any?
It wasn't that bad.
I didn't care for it. I mean, what's the texture? I don't even understand what it is.
It's not something I would eat by choice.
It looks like some kind of weird petroleum.
Yeah.
Mixed with like coal. I don't know.
Oil.
It's like looks like engine oil or something. I don't know. I don't trust it. Jewish AF said her bazookas had a glow up.
But
you could say that.
Let's do one more.
Joe Watland said Lady Cop's gonna be shining their LEDs in people's faces. Elizabeth Schuster said, hi Bernard and Myra. Today is my 34th birthday. Can I get a shout out?
Shout
this
out.
is officially your shout
Happy
out
birthday.
and happy birthday.
Thank
you for all you do. I really appreciate this show. I wouldn't know what's going on in pop culture if it wasn't for you guys.
Well, thank you.
We aim to please,
We do.
we aim to be tolerated.
We do. We aim to give you something vaguely interesting to listen to for a couple of hours each day.
Yeah.
All right.
Mediocre is what we aim for.
There's a 20 there, and then let's move on.
20 from Pat the plumber. He said, I'm the only plumber in my family, so suck it, Mary. Also, return your shopping carts, damn it. Point taken, and no, I won't.
Okay.
We're going to move on now.
All right. Let's talk about... There's people are still in the chat asking about NEETs.
Yeah, you don't know what NEETs are? I'm surprised. So we're going to talk about NEETs. This is the newest Gen Z trend that we are going to discuss. Gen Z is embracing the power of doing nothing and not functioning as an adult in society. Because in increasing numbers, it seems that Gen Z is opting out of having jobs, going to school, or doing basically anything with their lives and doing anything to contribute to society at all.
This is the natural conclusion to doomerism.
Now, here's the shocking stat that just came out. As of 2023, about 1/5 of people between the ages of 15 and 24 are currently classified as NEETs. And what that means is it's an acronym, not in employment, education, or training. They say it's not exactly clear what is causing sizable Gen Z cohorts to ditch the workforce, but research has frequently shown that the group is struggling to hit life's traditional milestones since they're earning less and accumulating more debt.
There's a big part of the problem right there.
Well, it could also be an attitude problem. It could be plenty of things. It could be overindulgent parents. It could be social media addiction. I think there's a never-ending list. There's a never-ending list. A recent study found that people in their 20s today are taking home a salary of the average $45,500, while millennials were earning $51,800 on average at their age when adjusted for inflation. Wages are dropping.
Stagnating or dropping.
Costs are inflating.
Did you see that thing the other day where the guy had like identical grocery bills from like 2 years apart, and it was like $126, now it's like $400 and some
I think I saw it. It was horrifying. I cannot blame Gen Z for being hesitant about entering the adult world when it is clearly in shambles. But what cannot be excused is completely opting out of contributing value to society, because that's how it's actually going to collapse. Like, that is how we lose the power grid. That is how we lose, anything, any functioning system whatsoever. And, we got to be worried about passing the torch to people who, in significant numbers, are choosing to have zero part in keeping this shit running.
Yeah.
It's scary for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Especially the elderly who increasingly are going to be under the care of these generations. Yeah. It's scary.
And living longer to experience it to begin with.
Yeah. So thank God for medical miracles. But yeah, that's a shocking stat. It says in Spain alone, over 500,000 of the 15 to 24-year-olds are neither studying nor working.
That was like a pretty, from what I remember, that was like a pretty common thing in certain aspects culturally, and then up to a certain point.
What's common in a country like Spain is to live at home before getting married.
Yeah.
But not to not have a job or not have any education.
Yeah.
Especially at 15?
Yeah.
That's when you're supposed to still be in grade school. Yeah. And they said, meanwhile, in the UK, almost 3 million Gen Zers are now classed as economically inactive, with 384 youngsters joining the workless class since the COVID pandemic. That is a huge factor in it, is that some people just dropped out of college in the middle of COVID, or they lost their jobs in the middle of COVID, and they're probably, living on their parents' dime. Because, their upper middle class parents are being overly indulgent. I saw this take on no one knows what to do about the NEETs. They say there is a trend of, wait, what is this? It was like after the recession, it was increasing after the recession, but then after COVID, that's when it really started a stark rise in this trend.
Maybe it's just like
But
they
it says-
realized like after like during COVID they could sit around and do nothing and then just kept going.
They're affected by a stigma of failure in a capitalist system. A failure to I knew that was going to do a number on you. A failure to recognize and make accommodations for autism spectrum or anxiety disorders. If anything, we are making too many accommodations for disorders like that. And also over-medicating disorders like that. Okay, and then a lack of job opportunities and or social services combined with the material wealth of middle to upper class families that can support a younger unemployed member indefinitely. That's also a problem.
Can you read the first two again?
Oh, yeah. These are conditions that seem to give rise to the NEET lifestyle. The stigma of failure in a capitalist system and a failure to recognize and make accommodations for autism, spectrum, or anxiety disorders. Those are the first two.
I think those are kind of linked because being that online and imagining that the reason why we're having a crisis of people not working is somehow tied to that there's that many autistic people. That's insane.
Well, there's definitely some overdiagnosis and self-diagnosis going on there. And if you take NEETs at their word for why they're not doing anything with their lives, you're going to hear much different answers than reality.
Yes.
Because they are quite literally disconnected from the real world.
Fear of failure in a capitalist society means nothing because it's the only society that exists where you can actually have fear of failure, because fear of failure in most other societies just means you die of hunger.
You know, I fear the NEET lifestyle is going to be seen as an act of bravery because it's it's revolutionary because you're opting out of the capitalist rat race. And you're above it all.
You're not though. You're existing on the backs of your hyper-capitalist parents who can keep you alive.
Well, of course.
So no,
But
you're not. You're just
they don't think
you're
into the
just
future.
leeching scum like communists.
I mean, I wouldn't say leeching scum.
Leeching scum like communists.
Some of them definitely are leeching scum. Some of them
I'm saying it. Leeching scum.
You know, they're not getting a kick in the pants that they need. Maybe this is why someone like Jordan Peterson became so popular, is because there's just no one willing to speak truth to these
There's
people.
got to be a middle ground between the idea that we kick them out at 18 and saddle them with debt at college and letting them live at home indefinitely. There has to be a middle ground.
I feel like I was raised with that middle ground, honestly. But, you know, you never know what's going to happen with each individual person. There are ways you can prevent this, though. Don't let your kid essentially be a NEET while they're still a kid. Which what I mean by that is, you know, make them a functioning member of your household. Give them responsibilities that are appropriate for their age.
There's a 20 here from Mountain Goat.
I'm currently NEET, retired from the Navy in 18. Is that 2018? Decided not to work till my son graduates from high school. I figured the military got 20. He can give 6 years of me being at every game at every school function.
Well, if you're so you retired though, right? So you retired with a pension.
Oh,
You
well,
put
that's
your 20.
not.
That's
yeah.
not a NEET. That means that you actually contributed to society for.
I mean, if you want to call yourself a NEET, go ahead.
That's you're. I think you're underselling yourself.
Yeah, being retired, I would not say that's the same thing, because you've worked for what you have. Most of the NEETs we're talking about, I assume what they're doing is mooching off of their parents while they're going through their 20s and 30s, maybe even 40s.
While complaining about the capitalist system. And
I don't think most of them are tankies. I think most of them are directionless, confused, and social media and probably porn addicted people. And, you know, it's a symptom of a wider problem of like purposelessness and loneliness that is going to everyone in society, not just NEETs. This is just kind of the extreme example. And what I've noticed is that countries like Japan, South Korea, they seem to be a look into the future for the West, especially, you know, for us in the US. It's a look into the future because their trends with dating, with their economy, with their birth rates are looking into that is literally the crystal ball for what is going to show up in trends in the US. Extremely low birth rates in Korea, for instance. They're at 0.7 per woman. It's a huge decrease every year, and it's a national crisis. Similar in Japan. And we're going to start seeing more and more of that. The social atomization, the hyper consumerism that they have over there. We're already pretty bad in that regard, but it's going to accelerate. And we can look at those countries for a prediction in the future.
Imagine being in, like, somehow like two worlds colliding where nobody's working and everybody's hyper consumerist.
Right. Like, how the fuck do people do it? I was wondering this during the pandemic. Like, if you are out of work because of COVID and lockdowns, how the fuck are all these people affording 2-day shipping and DoorDash every day? What is going on?
Well, the DoorDash,
Is it just government money? It must have been those stimmy checks that I didn't get any of.
I ended the poll, ladies and gentlemen. I asked, are you a NEET? 72% of you say no. 27% of you say yes. I would wonder how many of those were like self-imposed NEETs, meaning that you retired from your job and you're just... Then I don't see that as a NEET. I just don't.
Well, if you are a NEET by choice, truly, then I would like to hear you elaborate on your situation and how you feel about it.
How do you fix this problem?
That is so beyond the scope of what I am capable. But I mean, really, I do see there is a spiritual emptiness. I know I'm saying this as a religious person, so only the religious people are really going to hear this resonate, but it's true. I mean, you can see better outcomes in more religiously practicing societies and smaller local communities. But I wanted to talk about these other subsets that are found in other countries. This reminded me of the hikikomori. They're hikikomori in Japan, and they're known as a group severe social withdrawal, total withdrawal from society, and seeking extreme degrees of social isolation and confinement. Hikikomori refers to the phenomenon in general and the recluses themselves, described as loners or modern-day hermits. The phenomenon is primarily recognized in Japan, although similar concepts exist in other cultures, especially South Korea.
If we see this in the West, I would imagine that a lot of it is attached heavily to prescription or illegal drug use, meaning that you've isolated yourself because all you need is your meds. Right?
Possible. But in Japan, I wouldn't see that happening.
I'm saying in the West here. And I'm saying in the West here that it would correlate heavily. Because look, there were periods of time where, like, I'm not an antisocial person, but I'm more on the introverted side. I'd like to, I think. But there were times where I was basically that when I was at the worst ends of my drug use, because all you think about is that. And so many people, live on prescriptions and things like that. And that's obviously not the case for all of them, but I bet it plays a role for some of it here in the West, that it isolates you. Drug use certainly does.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And the stereotypical hikikomori is just living in a pile of empty Mountain Dew cans, probably. They're addicted to video games, addicted to the internet, addicted to porn, extremely agoraphobic, can't leave the house for anything, either get everything delivered or have other people do it for you. And in case you thought of the male archetype in your head, there's also a new definition for the girls who are social recluses, specifically in China. They're referred to as the nowhere girls, or Mei Nu, a neologism coined to describe women who have no money, no job, no education, no prospects, no looks, no friends, and no sophistication. That is a lot.
My favorite is the top comment. Just says, how is it even statistically possible to lack all of those things?
Interestingly, it says the pronunciation in Chinese of nowhere girls will sound the same as beautiful girls.
Yeah.
Weird, right? But it's a pejorative, obviously, as it should be. Because, regardless of your age or the terrible circumstances that we happen to be living in with our economy and our culture, you can't just opt out. Like, you still have a duty, not only to yourself, but also to your family and also to your community and also to your country and in a broader sense, the world. Like, this does concern you.
Look, there's a lot of people, I'm sure, in our chat that probably hate the average politician as much as I do. If for no other reason than just to not let them win, don't opt out. Because they hate you.
You know what? Yeah, if the last thing you have to motivate yourself is spite, use it.
I don't know if that's it's not the greatest motivator, but perhaps you start with spite and you move on to more. Oh wait, here I'll use the word more nourishing means of social motivation, but certainly don't let them win.
Also, in my research for this, I found the subreddit for NEETs, r/NEET, currently has 42,000 members. And I found a poll that one of the users put up on r/NEET asking people, how often do you have a satisfying social interaction? And I saw the result was 55% voted they only have a satisfying social interaction once a year or less.
That's insane.
Like, that is a mental illness, right? You're at a level of dysfunction that really, it must be related to some kind of strange, like agoraphobia or
do you have,
something.
Do you consider most of your social interactions outside of work to be like pleasant ones or ones that go off without a hitch?
Well, sure. I mean, I don't think I have that many.
Okay, so I'll
unpleasant.
I literally last night I was
interactions.
at I went to get more cough drops from the Dollar General, and I
should give you mine.
And I had a conversation with just the most upbeat, positive worker that I've ever met, and it was a joy to have a discussion with this guy.
I don't know why I was picturing an older woman.
No, it was a middle-aged guy, and he was talking. He's like, look, asked how you do. It's the typical conversation. Like, oh, how you doing? Can't complain. He goes, you know what? Especially when you realize that there's other people in the world that do have things that are going on to complain about, it puts things into perspective. And just hearing that from someone gives me reason to be happy and to see that not everyone looks at the world through the same negative lens. And I was like, if his manager was around, I'd tell him to give that dude a raise because the world needs more of that, do they not?
Yeah, well, I mean, we do focus on the negative on this show quite often, but that's the name of the game, and we don't mean it to drag anybody viewing down. It's more so that, we want to come up with our own interpretations of it all.
I mean, there's a reason why when we go see movies, me and Mary usually come away with very different interpretations of everything that we watch. So.
Yep. But as for the NEETs in the chat, please do explain yourself. I want to hear your story. Why are you a NEET?
All right.
Okay.
And let's do super chats, guys. If we we're gonna be we'll check out early if we run out of super chat. So if you want to keep us here till 5, that is possible. Otherwise, we will check out earlier.
We have technology.
We are about 3/4 of the way to a second crisis party.
200 Watt Studio said Mary Magneto, is it Magneto?
Yes.
Is explicitly a survivor of the Holocaust.
Correct.
I never watched it, so I wouldn't know that. Shane H. Wilder said Nightcrawler was a devout Catholic raised in a monastery, not gay. He even had a story turning Wolverine to Christ.
The point is the actor who played him was gay.
The Ninja from Pop Culture Planet said, all I wanted for my birthday was an uneventful day, but not only is there a debate, there's a genocide going on in Gaza. I can't catch a break.
What about the femicide going on in the Congo?
Sure they're going to be debating about the genocide in Gaza.
I would love it if they pivoted and made it about the Congo.
Oh, yeah.
They're like,
he's like, oh, yeah, Biden, have you heard about the femicide in the Congo?
Yeah.
And Biden is like,
I love that. I love that idea.
Yorishima Otaru says, Stan Lee made mutants to skip origin stories.
That is true. That is also true.
That's cool. Pop Culture Junkie said, when I was TV news photographer, I shot Ted Bundy being transferred to trial. Glared at me for a couple of seconds, scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it would. I don't blame you.
It's definitely a memory you will hold on to for life, though. Corey Anderson said that guy from Cringe was hilarious.
Yes, he was. I like the idea that he doesn't even work for that dealership. He just goes around and makes those videos.
And they don't stop him because he's actually marketing the
awesome.
cars. That Stanzatastic said, I need those cringe links in description from now on. Thanks. That salesman bussin'. Am I using that right?
He wasn't even dressed like a car salesman, really. I think of car salesman as more ex-football player-ish than him.
But he has the spirit.
He does.
And then we would never possibly be able to link our cringes in the description. I'm sorry, man. But you can see who posted it. 200 Watt Studio said the only force scissoring was a haircut in Acolyte.
Look, when I was getting my haircut yesterday, I should have asked the lady who cuts my hair, like, do you have like a lightsaber you could use? Because I'm in a hurry. I got to get out of here. Like,
I mean, that would have been nice.
That would have been nice, right?
Get the singed ends.
I love that. That was so depressing.
When I watched the clip back again, her face is just empty.
Oh yes, it's hilarious when she makes like the grand gesture upwards, but there's no emotion on her face.
Did you think you ate that? Like, that's crazy.
Oh.
Justin Campbell said, what series/movies of TMNT is best to first start watching?
Just start the 1990. It's the best of them.
Serenco Productions said, TBH, I'm surprised they let discount Ezra Miller kill Osha's potential alien mullet girlfriend in the last episode. Spoiler alert, I guess. I was really surprised by that too.
A lot of people don't believe she's dead because of the placement of the saber lens. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, no, there's no way a character would actually die.
By the power of
Star Wars
of women, she will be fine.
But yeah, but she's supposed to be training to be a Jedi, so she can't have relationships. That's against the rules. Willem said, Acolyte crew feels fine saying whatever because opposing views are a small fringe group to them and basically don't exist. Well, they sure as hell exist when you're getting 13% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes and the viewership is tanking and all of that. So I hope that it bears out in the numbers. But yeah, they clearly are out of touch with the general sentiment.
What did you who watched the show think of the headbutting of the lightsaber? Did you like the explanation of the cortosis helmet? I also saw some unintentionally racist descriptions of that helmet that will go unnamed on this show. I'll tell you off air. But it definitely made me go, cringe.
I am curious now.
But yeah, it's... I would like to know what people thought. Because look, a lot of channels went into great depth about, power levels and the evolution of the fight choreography and stuff like that. Well, by the time it was done, I'm just like, I can't tell what the hell's going on. The way it was shot, that long panning shot through the woods, I'm like, there's a freaking tree in the way. It's a CGI tree. You can just remove that.
No, but that's on purpose, so they have to do less work.
It's annoying.
Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, all Eastwood's kids are actors. One is a composer.
Yep.
Cool.
And
Runs in the family.
Clint Eastwood, 93, still directing. Though did you see that clip of Dick Van Dyke at like the Golden Globes or something? He's like 98 and he's like shuffling around and dancing.
Good for him.
The adrenochrome just hitting. He got the early adrenochrome. Like he got the fentanyl of adrenochrome back in the 70s, and it's still in his system.
Damn.
Yep.
The Rumblings said Tommy Boy, a great nepotism comedy by the legendary Chris Farley.
They're making a Chris Farley biopic soon too as well, I think. And I believe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
Not.
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's with the guy from actually I'm going to look it up. But the guy who played what was that movie about like the security guard at the 98 Olympics?
I have no idea.
Somebody knows what I'm talking about here, but they are making a movie about him.
Samir Navarre said, in cities, there are a lot of adults, lots of rich parents that just hang out and chill all day.
So what happens when you can, like, what do the parents do for a living? Are they like stock traders? Do they sell?
A man in finance. 6'5", blue eyes. Neat son. Okay, Shane H. Wilder said, NEETs are not NEETs. They are not neat. I'm sorry, I'll get my coat.
Look.
You'll get your coat, but are you going to see yourself out?
Yes, Richard Jewell.
Please.
Thank you, guys. That was the name of that movie.
Thursday said, the discussion of NEETs makes me want to go back and rewatch That Feel Win No GF. That was quite an interesting one,
The what?
wasn't it? Remember when Alex Lee Moyer was here?
No.
The documentary lady that she came with Ariel Pink that night when he accidentally.
I remember that.
Yeah. She made the documentary called That Feel Win No GF about self-described incels.
Okay.
And weirdly enough, I recognized their profile pictures and their usernames. It's not a good thing.
When are we gonna? When are the fem cells gonna get their day and get their day?
They're never gonna get their day because they don't exist.
There it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Shane H. Wilder said, I'm going to be serious here and say to anyone who wants to be recluse and give up, don't. There is no opting out. We don't allow that here.
Don't give up. Don't opt out. I agree.
And he also said, randomly, since everyone loved the Timcast playing cards, I will be designing a PCC Monopoly and Clue over the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
That's a lot of dedication,
It is.
Shane. Wow. I'm impressed. Vladimir Plantin said, I'm unemployed by choice from learning how to earn online passive income, which takes a lot of free time. Next year, I may go to liberal arts school, super expensive. Do I count as a NEET?
I mean, but
feel like if you're
learning how to earn online passive income, you're training of some sort.
Well, no, he's currently living off of that passive income.
No, that just means you've learned how to make passive income. So you're employing those techniques to make money.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
But what if... Okay, did you ever watch the movie About a Boy with Hugh Grant?
No, I know what it is.
Well, he was like this rich guy that made money off the royalties from like some uncle of his having like a viral Christmas song.
Okay.
If you're living off the royalties of your family members' wonder, like one hit wonder, are you an NEET? It's passive income.
I mean, I guess technically we're getting into the minutia of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say if you have to question it, you're probably.
I mean, I feel like the whole point of categorizing NEET is to make it seem like you have no money. You're not actively seeking a way to make any money. You're not.
Right, yeah. Carnell said, what would it look like if we got rapid fire shorts or reels of Brett Recommends on the channel and the socials? I love the emojis you used there. Just another quick way for you to highlight obscure factoids about actors and shows.
It wouldn't play well. I can already tell you the views would be bad on it.
Well, what can you make people angry about?
Yeah.
I'm the one who loves making people angry. So.
And I don't like making people angry.
Because you're a wholesome chungus.
Yeah, exactly. I have to. We'll have to have wholesome Chungus Wednesdays on the shorts.
Please no.
And then one more from guys. Again, if you want to keep us here, and I would prefer to stay, we got to keep the super chats going. But Mary's not feeling well, so we got one more, and then it looks like we're going to be signing out here.
From Surenko Productions, the helmet didn't bother me because cortosis was a thing in the comics for a while now. I think it was introduced in 2020 in the Dr. Aphra comics.
Yeah, a lot of people were using that description for it, so it was fine. Again, I didn't hate that episode as much as I hated the previous one, so it is what it is. All right, with that being said, guys, we have gotten through all of our super chats, and since Mary's not feeling well, I think we're gonna call it a day. So, Mary, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you?
Yes, you can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X, that is also Mary Archived. And please smash like on my response to Timothy Poole, because one like equals one prayer, and I'm currently waging a rap battle against
your boss.
Tim. Well, that's what Dane called it. He said that it's a rap beef. I think it's just a regular beef. But
perfect. There's one more there.
We'll see if he responds. High Voltage said, wait, don't go.
Well, with that being said, we're trying to not go. People are saying that in the chat. You guys know how you can make that happen. But guys, if you would like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would prefer to listen rather than watch this show. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at Pop Culture @popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok @popculturecrisis, and on Instagram @popculturecrisispod. Mary, there are 2 more there to read before we go.
High Voltage said 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer.
Take one down, pass
Shane
it
H. Wilder said, it's not too much effort. I enjoy keeping my skills honed. That and it's fun. Prayers you get better, Mary. Thank you.
Perfect. Guys, with that being said, we will be back with another episode tomorrow with a very special guest. We will see you then.
Bye.
Bye.